In the quiet little town of Maplewood, there lived a young boy named Ethan. He was a kind and gentle soul, about 12 years old, who always looked for ways to help others. Ethan and his mother lived in a tiny house at the edge of town. Life hadn't been easy since his father passed away, but Ethan never let it dull his spirit. Every morning, he'd walk the long distance to school in the same worn-out shoes, torn at the sides and barely holding together. Yet, he never complained. He'd often say with a smile, "Some people don't even have shoes. I'm lucky." Despite his own struggles, Ethan's heart was full of kindness. One evening, as dark clouds gathered and a heavy rain began to fall, Ethan decided to take a shortcut through an old, forgotten street. Tucked away between two newer buildings was a closed cobbler's shop, covered in dust and years of neglect. But something inside caught his eye, a faint, warm, golden glow. Curiosity got the better of him. He pushed the creaky wooden door open and stepped inside. There, sitting on a dusty stool, was a pair of old leather shoes. They didn't look expensive or special, yet they pulsed with a soft, gentle light, almost as if they were alive. Beside them lay a small, handwritten note. It read, "These shoes will not take you where you want to go, but where you are needed most." A strange warmth spread through Ethan's chest. His own shoes were soaked and falling apart. Hesitantly, he slipped his feet into the glowing shoes. They fit perfectly. And then, suddenly, tap, 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 the shoes began to move, all on their own. They led him out of the shop and through the pouring rain, taking him down winding lanes he'd never noticed before. Finally, they stopped in front of a small, dimly lit house. The shoes pulled him right to the door. Peeking through the window, he saw an elderly woman inside, shivering and weak on the floor. A bottle of medicine lay just out of her reach. Without a second thought, Ethan rushed in. He gently helped her back into her chair, wrapped her in a warm blanket, and made her a cup of hot tea. Then he picked up the medicine and placed it in her trembling hands. The woman looked at him, her eyes filled with grateful tears. "Thank you, child," she whispered, her voice raspy. "You arrived just in time." As Ethan stepped back outside into the now fading rain, he felt the shoes glow brightly for a moment, and then they became quiet again. He had made his first magical journey. The very next day, Ethan put on the mysterious shoes again, eager to see where they would take him. This time, they guided him straight to the bustling town marketplace. In the middle of the crowd, a small boy stood crying, his face streaked with tears. He was lost and terrified. The shoes stopped right beside him. Ethan knelt down and spoke to the boy in a soft, calming voice. He stayed with him, asking gentle questions until they figured out where his parents might be. Soon enough, they were reunited with his worried mother and father, who couldn't thank Ethan enough. The day after that, the shoes led him to a farmer on the side of the road, struggling with a broken cart wheel. Even though he knew little about fixing carts, Ethan stayed and helped. He held the tools, lifted the heavy wood, and did whatever the farmer asked, until the wheel was finally repaired. His hands were sore, but his heart felt full. Each journey was different. Each time, he met someone who desperately needed help. And each time, Ethan helped with a full heart, never asking for anything in return. The shoes seemed to know exactly where a little bit of kindness was needed most. Slowly but surely, something beautiful began to happen in Maplewood. The elderly woman told her neighbors about the kind boy who appeared like an angel in the rain. The farmer spoke at the market about the honest, hardworking boy who helped him fix his cart. The parents of the lost child told everyone how Ethan's calm presence had saved the day. Word of his good deeds spread like ripples in a pond. Kindness began to blossom all across the town. Shopkeepers started helping one another. Neighbors who barely spoke before were now sharing tools and friendly conversations. The entire town started to feel warmer, not because the weather was changing, but because compassion was in the air. People were smiling more. They were helping more. And it all started with one boy and a pair of seemingly magic shoes. Ethan noticed the change, and it made him happier than anything else. Then, one morning, Ethan woke up and felt that something was different. He looked down at the shoes he had placed by his bed. They no longer glowed. The warm, golden light was gone. Worried, he quickly put them on and tried to walk, hoping they would lead him somewhere. But they didn't. They were just ordinary, worn-out shoes now. The magic, it seemed, was gone. For a moment, a wave of sadness washed over him. He had grown to love his secret adventures and the feeling of being guided to do good. But then, as he looked out his window at the cheerful town, he smiled. He didn't need the shoes to tell him what to do. That very same day, without any magical guidance, Ethan saw a neighbor struggling to carry heavy groceries and rushed to help. Later, he organized a group of friends to help clean up the schoolyard. He even spent his afternoon comforting a friend who was feeling down. And in that moment, as he was living his day, a powerful realization washed over him. He finally understood. The shoes had never been the real magic. The magic wasn't in the glowing leather or the mysterious note. The real magic had been inside him all along. It was his own kindness, his own honesty, and his own simple, powerful desire to help others. That was the true source of the light. As the town of Maplewood continued to thrive in its newfound spirit of community, people started to notice Ethan's family too. His mother found a steady, good-paying job. The old cobbler's shop, where his journey began, was cleaned up and reopened, with Ethan happily helping out after school. The old shoes were placed on a high shelf in the shop, a silent reminder of his incredible journey. They no longer glowed with light, but they glowed in his memory. And so, Ethan's life was completely changed, not by a pair of magic shoes, but because he learned that the most powerful magic in the world is the kindness you choose to share with others. When you help someone else, your own life changes for the better, too. Thanks so much for watching. If this story touched your heart, please give it a like. And don't forget to subscribe for more stories that inspire and uplift. See you next time.